Well, welcome everybody. I'm here with Adam Scott, founder and CEO of Visimir Technologies. Adam, thanks so much for doing this. I know investors want to hear from your side of the desk the amazing platform that you've been building. And I certainly don't want to steal your thunder, but I got to tell you, from what I've seen, this could really, literally revolutionize the building industry, the land development industry. Again, I don't want to take this away from you. I want you to share it, but I am so remarkably impressed and so proud to be a part of this project. And why don't we just start, Adam, with just tell us a little bit about your background. And when an investor's listening in, like, who is this guy? How is he able to do this? Like, this is amazing. So bring him up to speed with who Adam Scott is and what you're doing with Visimir.
Sure, Izzy. Thanks for having me. So I'm Adam Scott. I'm the founder and CEO of Visimir. Um, so I grew up as a gamer. My parents were moving house to house when we were little and designing houses as we grew up. I got into interior design and architecture school at Florida State and got into working with some architects in Florida and New York. And after working in that and then some other fields, I got into digital twins, started doing 3D scans of buildings for real estate. And this platform has allowed me to combine the digital twin aspect of things with marketing for real estate and my passion for homes and architecture as well as gaming. We're trying to gamify that experience. So it's been fun.
Love it, love it. And there's a huge problem that exists, and I think this is really important for investors to hear this. And for the investor audience that is in land development, real estate ventures, whatever that would look like, multifamily, um, they know that it costs a lot of money to do like a spec build, as they call it, for the model home.
Right.
And if you go into a project that has hundreds of doors that they're going to be building, it's really complex and intricate. And what they've got to do is the best is sort of here's a model for this version, here's a model for that version. But even in this model, there's only so far you can go in the physical realm where the wife walks in and goes, "Oh gosh, I wonder what it would look like if you had this instead, or this combination instead, or what this would look like." And I love that you're able to solve that problem with this amazing platform. Can we start there? Can you just talk a little bit about what that's like traditionally today and what it could look like with Visimir?
Sure. So the traditional run for land developers and builders is they'll go through and build a spec home, and that will turn into their office where they're selling in that specific development. So they're requiring people to come to them and schedule time for the open house and schedule those schedule the walkthroughs, and then they'll get to see other options that are on a PDF or something that they've printed out on their marketing pamphlets. What we've done is we've created a digital twin of a spec home. We are creating it the same way we would for a high-end game or movie asset platform. We're creating the home, and in that home, we can utilize what's called a configurator. What that means is that we can change in real time the flooring, the colors of the paint, the layout, the backsplash, and it's a really interesting platform that we've got because right now people are so used to being on their mobile devices or on their computer and getting what they want right now and seeing what they want right now, that being able to let them have that on a real estate side, I think is going to be very powerful.
Yeah, for sure. And Adam, if you want to pull up any visual aids with that,
Yeah,
that'd
for
be great.
sure.
And folks, you'll be seeing a link coming up here to get on my schedule to learn a little bit more about Visimir. And when you think, Izzy, I've heard enough, go ahead and click the link, get on my schedule. I could potentially introduce you to Adam Scott as appropriate. But let's jump into things and show the audience what this would look like if they were maybe jumping into this project here, loving the area. And if you're able to share names or whatever whom you're working with, because I know you're working with builders now, great. If not, I understand, as this will be disseminated to large audiences. But for the folks that would take a look at this and say, okay, so how does this actually work? I'm going to buy a home and I pick out my lot, and now I want to design what my home looks like. So take us away.
Fantastic. So the project I'm going to show you is one that we're working on right now. We've got a land developer out in Austin, Texas. This is a phase two of a large master plan community. And it's a mobile application. We can go through and use it like a traditional platform for CRM. the user can go in, identify the lot, select the lot they want by bedrooms, by location, by what phase or section. They can switch the houses that they've got on the lot to what's available.
That's great.
They can view it from a bird's eye view, from the street. And I'm going to pause right here for just a second as it's switching through. You can see the different lots on not just a visualization of the home, but that is GIS accurate. So we're not giving them an idea of where it's going to be on the lot. That's where that lot is in real space. We use Unreal Engine and Amazon Cloud Computing and traditional art stylings to create these GIS accurate coordinates. We build it up in the environment and we put the houses built there in space. So it's scale 1 to 1. The lighting patterns, the star patterns, all of it's accurate to the environment. Everything is ones and zeros in this, but it's all doable. The nice thing that I really like about this is it can be defined as we go into the interior. You'll see we can live change what the
Wow.
backsplash, the flooring, what the cabinets look like. So all of those colors and options for the individual builder. We're not stuck with a static spec home and a materials board at this point. I've done materials boards, and it's even having a sample that's 2 inches by 2 inches won't necessarily give you the full scope of what this tile or what this flooring
That's
looks like.
amazing.
So yeah, it's all high fidelity rendering. It's all real time. There's no downloads for us to have on this. If we wanted to, we could preload it on a headset and send it out to potential buyers from overseas. One of the things we've done with our platform is we're letting the future buyers or potential buyers experience the community, the amenities, the pools, the playgrounds. If there's a golf course, we can recreate it. But again, high fidelity. They're getting experience of what the neighborhood is overall, in addition to being able to spec their house and look at the surrounding areas, like what sort of shopping is around, what kind of schools are around. And the really cool part about this aspect of it is this is where the return on investment really gets kicked up for the builders and developers. This is their market. They can sell the advertising revenue through the app. We put the app in there, we've got their advertising, and this is a targeted demographic marketing plan for all of those individual apps. So this
Wow.
is going to run through it again, but to give you an idea, the ability for I'm going to stop this real quick. Sorry.
This is absolutely incredible.
Thank you.
And when you mention the video game style of it, I totally agree with you. And I've sat shoulder to shoulder with my kids playing a video game and things like that. I'm the crazy parent that gets involved with his kids like that. I have a lot of fun doing it. But you know what I'm thinking of, Adam, is I'm thinking of the audience that this really appeals to. And research has shown that the average gamer, as you self identified as, the average gamer is a 35-year-old male. So you start thinking about the averages. So someone in their 30s and 40s, is this something that they would be used to doing? The answer to that is yes. So if they can apply that to buying their own home, I think this is really going to take off. And obviously, the builder saw that with that project. How many doors are you working on over there with them?
That one is about 680 doors. I want to say it's between 681, yeah, 681 lots, 5 builders, national builders that we're working with there. And the idea is that by the builder coming on and onboarding with us, we can create their homes for a fraction of the cost of building a spec home on the lot. Um, for the price of an average spec home with all the construction costs, the tariffs, actually having it open, utilities, insurance on that, and then waiting for a buyout on the end of it, um, that money is held up. That capex is held up. If they spend even half of that or a quarter of what they've got on digital models that somebody can customize and configure to their spec, you've got a great idea and understanding of what your buyers want. You've got them coming in and identifying and creating their home for a custom build right there on site or a semi-custom home.
Love
So,
that. And I can totally see the future of that where there's a kiosk or, a
mhm.
walk-in storefront where there's large TV screens, opportunities for a multiplicity of people to be designing what their home looks like for the builder right there, and then creating these leads for the realtor, the salesperson that's on site, to be able to connect with these people and give them a live tour of the area or whatever it is. But that's really exciting. Let's jump to some of the other facets of this because I love covering five things, and my investor audience knows about that, which is number one, identifying a huge problem that you're solving. Certainly, you check the box with that. The second thing is there a defensible IP? Is there a defensible IP, and are there any patents? Talk a little bit about that, and anything you want to pull up and share, you can do that as well. And as Adam's doing that, folks, again, click on the link. You can certainly get on my schedule to provide you the preliminary details for the due diligence that you need to do to see if this merits being in your portfolio. I certainly think it does, but I'm not making any promises or guarantees. But what a bright individual that is building a platform that could revolutionize the way we look at real estate and home buying in the future. Adam, again, take it away and tell us a little bit about the defensible IP that you've got under your belt and any patents that are pending or that have already been issued.
So we don't have any patents pending with this technology currently. A lot of what we're utilizing is what's out there for open source game design. We utilize Unreal Engine. We've got cloud compute. What we're going to try and get the patent on is the integration of the the CRM. We've got open access and the ability to live feed our platform with the real-time lot and data integration from the building management softwares. We're already doing that with the project you just saw. So if somebody's got a home and it buys out, sells out, we pull about every 30 minutes new live data from that builder info. And as that goes in, it'll close out lots, which affects the CCRs and the HOA guidelines. So if this house is here and they've designed it there, it's locked in and under contract, the following houses have to follow the rule set. We just turn the CCRs and the HOA guidelines for the master plan communities into a game set. It's a logic set for the game to function on, and it works. So we're going after that, the integration for live real-time data into a pixel streaming application and then back out to a marketing campaign as live hot leads. So we've got that worked out right now. We're
Well,
partnered with,
as well, Adam, if I can interject,
yeah,
tell
for
me
sure.
as well, just related to what you were saying on the platform that you're building on, which is open source. Well, how easy is it in the world of digital twinning to just replicate what Visimir is doing, where suddenly when an investor is listening to this, they're like, oh, so anybody can do this, and they're not nailing down any patents. And I think it's a critical variable because the world we live in today, there's a lot of open source code, but that doesn't mean that's sort of like the foundation. That doesn't necessarily mean everything you're building on top of that is just easily duplicatable or that they can take that. So why don't you go ahead and share on that?
Sure. So to answer the question, if you give everybody the same code, what Visimir has that is going to be hard to replicate, incredibly hard to replicate, is the talent pool. We don't just have artists; we've got experts in the fields on these. We have people who specialize in GIS management. We have people who specialize in architectural rendering. And even though there are people who can do that, building for game design is a specialty. Uh, Building a rendering for an architect in 3D can be done in a number of platforms, but to get it to work the way we do it live is that's what we've been building. That's our flagship and our baby for the last year. So it's very hard to replicate at scale because of the amount of data that's being pushed through. We've
Sure.
got a pipeline that is very specific in how we build and the way we build and the way things are integrated. And it's that's pretty tight as far as playing how and the way we build things in-house. That's pretty close to the chest on that one. So we don't know if it's necessarily open for a patent, but it's worth exploring on our end. But the custom features that we've got are they have to be done by experts, and we have that talent pool. It's part of why we're relocated to Orlando instead of staying in Louisiana. We moved down here in 2023 because it's a tech hub and we've got a great
Yeah.
talent pool down here.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to cover is the third thing is disruptive. Is this disruptive? I look at this and I say, my goodness, think of all of the spec homes that don't have to be built. the millions of dollars that are just thrown into that, the risk that's involved with that, when you can just stand this up and get an idea and a sense of the demand and what exactly the market is saying that they want as far as the style of the home and the cost of materials and all of that really helps change the landscape. So let's talk about how disruptive this can be, Adam. Jump into that for us.
I think this is going to be very disruptive. Currently, the market has been, here's some photos of your house on either our marketing page for the builder or the development, or see it here at Zillow and check it out. And you can see it from afar or schedule right then. What we're talking about here is 24-hour open houses that are customizable. Anytime, any place, they can see it. They don't have to schedule ahead to come and see it. They don't have to schedule time out. It's not locked and static. I think we're going to disrupt um, into the marketing aspect of real estate by hitting pre-sales. I think the ability to custom walk through a spot instead of going point to point to point and being dependent on photographers that may or may not know how to shoot a building,
Sure.
I think it's going to be disruptive. Matterport is pulled out of Zillow at this point. They're having issues there, so we're offering a new solution. So I think we're right at the right time to be exceptionally disruptive in marketing for real estate and land development.
So tell us, some of the conversations, what it sounded like when you spoke with your customer that you're working with right now. And I'm sure they've got other projects that are going to be coming up and probably want your assistance with that as well. But tell me how you wowed them and what their response was like. And I can't see this being a hard sell. I see it being so powerful. They would want this for themselves and definitely get an edge in the marketplace. Can you share a little insight on that?
Absolutely. So we started out like any other bootstrap startup. We tried to build an MVP and brought it to a customer that we had a warm handoff to, and that was great. We started out by demoing one house. They were blown away by the one house. They were ecstatic to see what we could do. We signed the contract, and on our first iteration, our first milestone with them, we simply brought up, here's the land development, here's the GIS accuracy, and we got to show them, hey, here's your land. There's no houses or lots on it yet, but here's the fidelity that we've got. We can change time of day. We can make it rain. We can quite literally make it rain and snow inside the app. We can change the weather, and the ability to see it in accuracy and free walk through it. That was the selling point. As soon as they could visualize it, humans are visual. We are learners.
Yeah.
We what we can't make tangible, we still want to see. And so this hit that spot, and they said, yeah, let's lock it in. So we got our first client, and it would have been about a 9-month contract. We managed to pull it out 3 months early, and we've gone through some iterations with back end and front end as it's our flagship, and it's been a learning experience for everybody on both sides. But we're super happy with the product, and even a year later, they're still very excited every time that we have to go do a new pull or add an element. It's been a fantastic run with it. They do have two other projects that we've got a contract on one and an LOI on the other, so they're first in and going to be hitting it two more times for us. We're excited.
That's super exciting. And I know on this raise, and we won't go into the particulars of the raise. If you want information on that, certainly click on the link there, get on my schedule. I could potentially make the introduction to Adam Scott if it merits. So we definitely want to make sure that this is something that is a fit on both sides. And we're excited to make those introductions. And if that's the case, click on the link there if you would like to learn more about that and learn more about the particulars of the deal. I want to jump into the final 2 points of this. First one being scalability. You mentioned it before, how scalable and difficult this can be for someone to scale. But how about for Visimir when this takes off, where the investor ear is listening, saying, well, how big can this actually grow in the beginning? Adam's got this very powerful and capable team, but what does that mean for scalability around the country with real estate projects that are either on the grow or shrinking or anything like that? And if you could address those points, because that's something that comes up where an investor would say, well, this is only going to do great in a market that is selling a ton of homes. What about when it's shrinking? So if you could talk about the scalability of what that looks like, and what if we do see housing market changes. Dare I use the word crash, if you will, or anything like that. So why don't you touch on that, Adam? I think that'll be really helpful for the investor audience because I know you shared those details with me, and I think it's remarkable what you can do.
Yeah, so scalability is a fun part about Visimir because we are a digital product and a digital service. Our scalability is based around how quickly we can scale and grow our team. And that's most of what this raise is about, trying to scale and grow our operations. The ability to work in the country or around the world is not a problem. We've got GIS data for it. We can fly a team out like we did to Austin, Texas, gather the data, come back and work digitally. For builders to scale their properties and grow, it's just a matter of getting that first project in line and making sure that we've got our path forward with them. And then as a home, as a developer or a builder brings us a house, brings us a set of floor plans. If somebody like Lennar Homes is going to sign up for 10. I'm just using them as an example. Let's say they come in and they say, hey, we've got 5, 10, 15 homes that we'd like to go ahead and get configurators done on. Great. We've built them. Those houses can now be used in any Lennar development project moving forward. They're reducing the future capex. They're getting that return on investment, not just on sales, but they're also getting it as a discount on their future marketing for
Yeah.
these other developments. If you take an asset that's $10,000, $20,000 and you move it to a second project, now it's $5,000 to $10,000 for that asset. The replication on it, because floor plans tend to stay around for a while and they get moved to different areas of the nation or different builder places. It's the scalability on it is not just easier, it is faster because we can replicate digitally versus saying, hey, we've got to go build another spec home over here. That's going to be another 3 to 6, 9 months out. We reduce the capex, we reduce the time to market, and in an area or in a field that real estate is, your your time to market for a development or your time to get your sales center up and running is can be a detriment
Yeah.
to your sales. We're able to go ahead and start selling before they're breaking ground. So the scalability of this, once somebody comes in with us and is on board with Visimir, any future development they want to do to scale, we've got the ability to do that and replicate quickly.
Wow.
So it's a
So
really neat program.
yeah, I just want to interject and tell you that is so important for investors to hear. I mean, your ability to pre-sell homes before they've broken ground, I mean, that is absolutely incredible. That gives the developer such an edge, and the efficiency of money is so much more powerful there. I love that. And why don't we talk about the converse of that? Um, it begins to slow down. We see a market crash, whatever it is. Why don't you address that with the investor listening ear, as well as, if you wouldn't mind, looping in the ad revenue? I know you touched on it on the front part of this. There is a massive opportunity. As I'm just so excited about this project, and I'm going to keep hitting you with these things because I want investors to hear it. I think it's absolutely remarkable what you're able to do. Again, folks, click on the link if you want to learn more. If you've said, Izzy, I've heard enough. This looks like it's revolutionary. I want to be one of the first ones on the scenes on the scene, go ahead and click the link and I'll put you in touch with Adam Scott if appropriate. But go ahead, Adam, and take it away.
Yeah, so on the converse side of this, let's talk about what happens when real estate eventually hits a drop, a crash, or even a slowdown. What we're going to find is the people who are still creating developments, building new properties. What we're going to see is that you have to either sell what you've got or you have to take the risk and build up front. With Visimir, selling what you've got is easier because now you're not just targeting people who can come into a location and schedule a time to come on site with your salesperson. You're not on their schedule anymore. It's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to get those leads in.
Right.
And if you're selling for something that's not built yet, if you're pre-selling and trying to get an idea of what people want, the statistic I like to use here is that as soon as you give any user in any platform the chance to even touch the design and change it in one way, they are 94% more likely to buy. That was a study done by Nike. As soon as you give the buyer a chance to customize something one time, they're sold. So we've given them not one time, but they can change the floor. They can change the cabinets. The user experience in this allows somebody to not just see a home, they're developing their own emotional tie to the sale in advance. They're
Yeah.
pre-qualifying themselves as a lead for the marketing team and sales team. So the converse side is even if there's a slowdown, the amount of power generated by these leads and the amount of efficiency of these leads, I think are going to far outscale a static spec build. I mean, not to mention just the overall cost savings of having to throw spec builds in a down market, right? You got down market, you've got tariffs on materials, you've got higher labor costs, and then you're holding at interest rates that are not ideal. Well, we don't have any of that in the digital world. Digital twins don't have any of those things. So the reduction in CapEx is going to be, I think, the thing that separates companies that can go tech forward and continue to keep growing and continue to keep making money on land deals versus companies who have to go and build a $10 million sales office for a condo in downtown Miami. That doesn't make sense when we can do it all digitally.
That's so amazing. Well, let's jump into one of our final points here. And again, folks, you've seen that link up on your screen. Click on that to get on my schedule where I could introduce you potentially to Adam Scott if it makes sense to do so. But Adam, let's start sunsetting this conversation here. Talking about the team, you mentioned how strong the team is. And you know what I'm envisioning is this powerhouse developer team that can scale this thing, potentially even assist with, let's say, for example, on a rainy or snowy like we get here in Colorado Saturday, where that poor salesperson that went into the office anyway, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's going to be dead today. It's like a blizzard out here, and maybe there's a way to invite people on a link to be able to visually see that, where the salesperson can jump on a Zoom call, walk them through what the property looks like. So I just see so many things that this can work with, and certainly the strength of a team behind that to make that a possibility is a critical variable. So why don't you jump into a little bit about your team and anything you want to share on your deck? I know you've got a slide with them on there. So
Yeah.
yeah, let's jump into things.
Sure. I'll pull up the screen here for us. What you're seeing here is our main team. So myself as the founder and CEO, our CFO is Jojito. He's been in the startup and tech realm as far as getting companies started up, and he's part of Blue Sky exit planning. So he's got a lot of history with bringing projects to market and then seeing them through financially through Series A, B, and exit. So Michael Acosta is our CTO. He's our project lead. He's a full sail graduate. He comes with the tech experience in gaming specifically. So he's fantastic. Lots of user experience and user interface, and a lot of team management on his. So working in Jira and Confluence is kind of his big part of what he brings to us. So the talent management and uh, team management is very strong with him. So between him and myself, there's not really anything that can't be worked through technically with either our staff or development. Jeffrey Scott, the COO, he's in charge of our operations at the moment, so making sure that the logistics of day-to-day life in a C Corp is up and running. And then Natalie Roberts has been our CMO since we started. She's been very strong getting us into the real estate market, especially out in Austin, Texas, where she's got a lot of deep ties to the builders out there. So she's been a great sounding board for us as far as getting introductions and getting our first projects rolling. So fantastic to have her on and pointing the right direction. As far as our actual talent pool and team goes, we've got additional folks on our advisory board. Cameron Kidd, he's a engineering and systems developer for previously from the NSA, but he runs an engineering team out of Colorado, and he's a lot of our back end. Frank Hark is our risk analyst. He's our big brain behind any sort of risk analytics we need to pull. He works with Bastion Tech and NASA currently. Jack Meredith, our first client, one of our advisors for the real estate and development side of things. He's VP over at Masonwood Development Group. That's who we're working on that first flagship for. It's been fantastic, and he's very tech forward, very excited about the way things are moving. And then Chris Jones is our foliage artist. He's this guy. When I talk about our team and the talent, this guy's just one example of the talent pool that we've got. Um, he doesn't just create a plant for a game. He's not just like, hey, we need a plant or a tree. This guy goes out and he creates scientifically accurate plant life in game that works with the wind, can get rained on. The team that we've got is incredible. I'm so happy with these guys. He's currently working on a couple of other projects, creating his own foliage packs. And that's one thing that I forgot to bring up earlier about part of the ROI with this is as Visimir is creating assets, not necessarily just the homes, but the plant life, the other assets, the 3D assets that are required. If it's there in a house, if it's there in a neighborhood or on a site, we have to create it somehow.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to use other people's work. It's not built for what we do. And even if there are assets out there, we need it to be built a certain way. Those
Sure.
digital assets that we're creating for use can be sold again in the digital marketplace for other architects, other designers, other game users. There are plenty of marketplaces out there, including Unreal Marketplace, Twin Forms, Twin Labs, all of these places where we get a second ROI on our digital assets, not just the original project. So our team is fantastic, and we're just looking to build them up as we and shore up the talent pool as we go forward.
That's amazing. And my hat's off to you for pulling together this incredible team. They're remarkably talented. And what it speaks to is this isn't a project where you're trying to rub two sticks together with investor capital to see if you can get a little bit of smoke and start a fire. You've got a fire going here. They have an opportunity to throw gas on the fire. And I'm not making any guarantees or trying to make it sound that way, but you got to look at this and say, well, what could this mean for land development, real estate development, multifamily, all of that? What is this going to look like for the future? Does it look like this, or does it look like it still looks today? I think it's going to totally look like this, and you're at the forefront of that, Adam, and it is absolutely remarkable what you're doing. So, folks, again, click on the link, get on my schedule so I can get you the preliminary details from Adam Scott, potentially even get you on his schedule so that you can meet face to face, get your questions answered, and everything else. But Adam, if you wouldn't mind, any final thoughts on your side of the desk before we say goodbye here? This has been so informative. And I think an investor that's listening or watching can really take a look at this and say, you know what? I think I want to get some questions answered because this sure looks like it could change the way things are done today. So I think we hit all those parts there. The 5 points that I love going over, that being problem that you're solving for a major audience, defensible IP, as well as it being disruptive, scalable, and a strong team. That you hit everything. So great job on that. But any final thoughts on your side? Sure, jump in.
Yeah, is the thing that I wanted to point out because we've gone through what it means for the market, what it means for the economy, what it looks like for the user, and the reduction in capex and how that works. But what the thing I forgot to touch on earlier was the recurring revenue through ad generation. When we're looking when we're building these communities, we're not just trying to sell the home on the lot. We're helping sell the community that those homes are around.
Yeah.
And that's where we start to get additional resources and additional income that can eclipse just the builds. We're talking about ad revenue that's coming in at around $250 to $300 per ad slot. These are ones that our team like Natalie will predetermine what our target demographic is for that development, working with their marketing team, and we will start to identify the different businesses or schools, et cetera, around that can be put into our marketing program. We're looking at 28 to 34 ad slots within that can have similar ties to a Google review experience, except they can live map it. They'll know exactly where it is. They'll get the information about the amenity nearby, whether it's a wine social club or a golf range. They'll get that information, but they're going to be paying on a monthly or annual contract with us. 24 ad slots, 34 ad slots at $250 to $300 at a minimum just to start, that becomes a significant source of revenue over the course of a development period, which can be 3 to 5 years from the time that they've actually broken ground to sell out.
Yeah,
So a recurring revenue stream, in addition to reduction in CapEx, is very powerful. So I think that's a pretty strong incentive on our platform, and that's what we bring to the table that other even other digital marketing companies or rendering companies, that's not that's not brought. There is no ad revenue split on anything. Ad revenue is not really brought up at all because you're marketing for your client. But why can't the client help market the community and give the end user a sense of what it's actually going to be like to live there? And that's what we bring to the table. I think it's really neat.
absolutely. Well, there you have it, folks. Adam Scott, Visimir Technologies. This is remarkable what you're doing in the
Thanks.
digital world, and I just see this being the future of real estate. So, again, congratulations, Adam. Thank you so much for joining, folks. Your last opportunity to click on that link, get on my schedule. I would love to introduce you to Adam Scott if it makes sense to do so, but at least get you the preliminary details that he's got available for you to at least take a look at this and see if it merits being in your portfolio. Well, thanks again, Adam. Thanks again for watching, everybody. We will see you on the next one and talk to you soon. Congratulations, Adam. Great job.
Thanks, Izzy. Take care.